and cut the stream on, so. Okay. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the January 12th public hearing of the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission is charged with regulating the subdivision of property in the unincorporated areas of Jefferson County. Today you'll be given the decision of the Commission regarding subdivision request, and the plat representative will receive the decision within 10 business days in writing. And note that any subdivision approved today is not complete. In order for it to be complete, the final plat must be recorded in the office of the Judge of Probate in Jefferson County. County staff will be coordinating with the surveyors of today's approved preliminary plats to prepare the approved plats for recording. The Planning and Zoning Commission is also charged with evaluating requests for rezoning of property and advising the County Commission for their final determination. All decisions made by Planning and Zoning Commission regarding zoning cases are advisory only, and the final determination of that zoning is made by the Jefferson County Commission in a subsequent meeting or subsequent public hearing, which all property owners within 500 feet are notified. I'd like to ask that if you have your cell phones on you or anything electronic, that you silence them so not to disturb our meeting today. And I'd like to ask for a roll call for quorum.
Good afternoon. Dr. Here. Cynthia Donald. Here. Patrick Gilbert. Here. Ken Lowry.
Here.
Georgia McCoy O'Neill. Here. Jay Miller.
Here.
Chris Jefferson.
Here.
Mark Quinn.
Here. Okay, so we have a quorum? Yes, we have a quorum. All right, very good. Thank you. All right, so today, first thing we're going to hear today are the subdivision cases. We'll have staff present that case to the commission, and then we'll call for any opposition to that case. And the applicant or their representative may be asked to come forward to the podium and answer any questions. Yes, we'll come to, and thank you. And if you do come up to the podium, you'll probably hear this a couple of times, but tell us your name and your address before you get started talking. I did skip one thing, and that is I'd like to ask for a motion regarding the reading of the minutes from the December 8th, 2022 public hearing.
Chairman, I make a motion to suspend the rule and accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to call the first subdivision case. I'll mention if you have the agenda, we have one that will be heard with a zoning case, and that's S220097. So we're going to put a pin in that one until we get to the zoning cases, and then we'll hear that one. The first one we're going to hear today is S220101, and the applicant is Augustus Ling, and this is current zoning A1, and it's 2 lots proposed.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the purpose of this subdivision is to properly convey 2 acreage tracts to lots of record for residential use. The parent tract was improperly split by deed a number of in the recent years, and resulting in 2 tracts that are ineligible for permits until Planning and Zoning Commission approves and it's recorded in a subdivision plat. So again, this is a cleanup case, if you will. It does comply with our zoning regulations. The one note from traffic is because of the existing properties that are already accessing, there's a private road right here. This was labeled as a dirt road. It's essentially a driveway private road. Because of the amount of properties that are currently already accessing this, Resident Transportation is requiring that this road be improved to a minimum of 18 feet with gravel from Bob Brill Road to the southerly boundary of Track 2 here. Right-of-way dedication will be required for Bob Brill Road, 25 feet from center line, and we're adjacent to the property. There's no floodplain, and there's no sewer available, so the health department will have to approve on-site septic. The staff recommendation for this subdivision is approval with an exception to the subdivision regulations to allow Lot 2 to be recorded with no road frontage.
Okay, thank you. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case? All right, is the applicant here? All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? All right, so I will entertain a motion.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve case S220101 for approval with an exception to the subdivision regulations to allow Lot 2 to be recorded with no road frontage.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Our next subdivision case today is S220102. The applicant, Terry Anders, and this is currently zoned A1 and C1, and there are 3 lots proposed in the Concord area.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the purpose of this subdivision is to convey 3 acreage tracts into 3 lots of record for residential and commercial use. There is an existing split zoning on one of the tracts, and as such, while this proposed lots do meet the requirements of both A1 and C1 zoning, we have asked them to submit a zoning case to clean up, if you will, the zoning lines with the new proposed subdivision lines before the final plat is submitted. There's no anticipated road access, traffic operation issues, no additional right-of-way dedication is required, no floodplain, and there's no sewer available, so an on-site septic system will have to be approved by the Department of Health. Staff recommends approval with an exception to the subdivision regulations to allow lots 1 and 2 to be recorded with no road frontage.
Okay, thank you. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case? Is the applicant with us? Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve case S220102 with an exception to the subdivision regulations to allow lots 1 and 2 to be recorded with no road frontage.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. I had 2, actually. I'm not sure who was first. We'll go with Dr. Dickerson. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Our next subdivision case today is S220103. The applicant, Elmer Standridge. This is agricultural zoning with 4 lots proposed in the corner area.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a family split subdivision that has actually come before the Planning and Zoning Commission twice now before. It's exactly as it was presented before. There were some difficulties in getting the final plat recorded. There's a 12-month expiration period on anything that's approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. And since that has run out since the last approval of December 9th of 21, we're bringing it back before the Commission for approval today. As I mentioned, there's been no change in this, and it was approved previously twice before.
Okay, thank you. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case today? Is the applicant with us? Very good. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve case S220103.
Second.
I think Georgia got that one. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to add this. You don't have to stay for the rest of the cases. If your subdivision case has been heard, you're welcome to exit stage left. You're welcome. So our next subdivision case is S220105. The applicant is Mary Beth Henderson. This is 3 lots proposed in A1 zoning. Mr. Mark.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a proposed resurvey to split existing lot of record there in the previously recorded Walker subdivision as approved in 2004. To split it into 3 smaller lots for residential use. All the lots do comply with A1 zoning requirements. Traffic has noted that grading may be required to satisfy site distance requirements dependent upon any proposed driveway location. There's no additional right-of-way dedication that's required. It's not in a floodplain, and again, there's no sewer available, so the Department of Health will have to approve the on-site septic. Staff does recommend approval for the subdivision.
Okay, thank you. So is there any opposition here today for this subdivision case? All right. Is the applicant with us? Okay, welcome. So any questions or any comments from any of the commissioners? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve case S220105.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a couple of seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Great, thank you. All right, so that concludes our traditional zoning subdivision cases. Next, we're going to hear the zoning cases. The staff will present the case to the commission, and then we'll call for opposition, and the applicant and their representative may be asked to come forward to the podium and answer any questions. Each side will have a maximum of 15 minutes to comment, and we just want to make sure everybody knows that the Planning Commission only makes recommendations on the zoning case, that the actual Jefferson County Commission makes the final decision. So our first zoning case today is Z220053. The applicant is Brandon Patrick. This is a request for changing zoning from C1 commercial to A1, from A1 agricultural to C1 commercial in the Mount Olive area. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Chairman, just to go through the details of the case with you very briefly, the subject property consists of one tax parcel. There's presently a single-family dwelling on the property, which is 2,010 square feet. It's a residential structure that was built in 1925. It consists of 3 bedrooms, 1 bath on 1.38 acres in the Mount Olive area. The county's future land use plan identifies this parcel for rural development. The existing land use map shows that the property presently contains a low-density residential dwelling, which is that low-density residential use, which is that single-family dwelling, excuse me. The county's current zoning map shows you the property is presently zoned A1, and everything around it is A1 except to the east is an institutional 2-zone district, and to the south is an institutional 1-zone district. Here's the applicant's site plan, which shows you access off of off of Mount Olive Road. Parking's in the front. The commercial retail establishment would be to the rear of the site. South of this property is First Baptist Church, Mount Olive. To the east, across Mount Olive Road, is Mount Olive Fire Department. To the north is a single-family dwelling. Also to the west is a single-family dwelling. Staff is recommending denial, Mr. Chairman, of this proposal for the following reasons. The development proposal is not consistent with the development patterns in the area, which is surrounded by a fire station, a church, and single-family dwellings. And secondly, the development proposal is not consistent with the county's long-range land use plan, which identifies this area for rural. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here? Would you like to come up and add anything to Mr. Brown's presentation?
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Wilson with Gonzalez Strength and Associates. I'll be the civil engineer on this and the applicant as well. But appreciate your time this afternoon. Appreciate you hearing our case. That wasn't you, was it? Okay. All right.
Okay, so before we proceed, that's twice. So I'll remind everybody if you'd silence your phones for us. It's okay. There's no penalty. It's just a nice reminder. Okay.
We do understand that the land use map and the zoning of the property is not it's not the commercial aspect for what we're looking for. The land use plan also shows this area to be of a rural nature. The agricultural zoning, but what I do see along Mount Olive Road. I printed out a overall zoning map that looked at Mount Olive Road. Mount Olive Road does have some commercial properties on it. It has actually a commercial property to our southeast, a commercial property to our north. We've got some industrial properties to our north. Those industrial properties actually were rezoned to industrial about 1.5 years ago. We do have institutional to our north, to our south, which is a church. What we see is this corridor, although the land use map doesn't show it, what exists out there today and what's going forward on Mount Olive Road is really more towards a commercial or institutional or industrial type uses. A lot of that being Mount Olive is a well-traveled road nowadays, and so commercial properties and those other businesses want to be on well-traveled roads. Typically, residential does not. It wants to be off on side roads and things of that nature. So we see this corridor really as being as a commercial use. We see Mount Olive Road corridor really as a commercial or industrial type uses as well, and that's what we see along the road of Mount Olive. So that's why we were requesting rezoning. Understand the land use map doesn't show it as that, but we feel that this is a good use for this area, and it is consistent with the other uses that are along Mount Olive Road. Now, I have the developer here. He's actually been in touch with the adjacent property owners, so I wanted him to speak to that and let y'all know how his conversations went with the adjacent property owners to this lot.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Hey, everybody. My name is Ford Fitz with Streamline Development Partners. Really appreciate your time today. As Bill said, we were the developer on this project and have been in touch with a few different folks along this corridor, three being the church to the south, First Baptist, the property just to the north, the adjacent property, and then another property just across the street, a gentleman that owns a business there along the corridor. All three of them were in support of the rezoning. Would love to see Dollar General here is who we're building this building for, and think that it would be a great addition to the overall corridor. And they have have signed letters here stating their support, and we'd love to be able to bring that to them. If anyone has any questions for me, I'm happy to try to answer anything.
Okay, but before we do that, I want to see if there's any opposition here and take that. So is anyone here opposed to this zoning case that'd like to be heard? All right. Hearing none, questions from the commissioners? Go ahead.
Mr. Wilson, there is no commercial property, I guess, according to that map, going up to the north. All the commercial properties back down to the south, according to that map there.
There is one commercial, you see where the purple is?
Yes, sir.
Just right on the other side of it, there's a commercial piece of property.
Is there any business there?
I'm not sure. Do you know what's there?
Yeah, there's a gas station, a convenience store that's just to the north. I believe that's the property that you're talking about. It's on the west side of Mount Olive Road, same side of the road as our site.
Okay, I see the cemeteries in the red, but the purple, there's no commercial business there. It's on down further by the ballpark.
Mind if I bring this to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I got some other copies too, if anybody else wants some copies. But it shows the, sorry.
This is commercial, these are industrial.
Yeah.
It's a small lot, but it's the one in red. I'll give you these two. Here's this is kind of an overall that showed all of Mount Olive.
I think we have most of those zoning maps. Past Newfound Road is where the commercial businesses, I guess, kind of spot is put in there. But the other direction, I think there's a trailer, place that sells trailers, machine shop down by the ballpark.
Right, okay. They may not be used as a commercial use, but for what it shows on the zoning map, it's zoned commercial.
Do you have more questions?
I do.
Do you? Okay. Dr. Dickerson, go ahead with your question.
Mr. Gonzalez. Not Mr. Gonzalez.
That me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your name?
Mr. Fitz.
Ford Fitz.
Okay, you said you have letters.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you summarize those letters for us?
Sure.
How many do you have?
I've got three copies.
Okay, 3 copies, but how many?
Well, I've got 6 total, but three different folks.
Okay, could you just summarize those for us?
Yeah, sure.
Like what's in them?
Yeah, so basically just saying that they would, love to see a retail store like Dollar General to the area. Especially, there not being one on this side of 65. I know there's one to the north, but just, having a place to shop and, you can buy groceries now at Dollar General, General Goods, as you know, and just having that ability to shop right there, not having to go, into Fultondale or into Gordondale.
Real quick, Mr. Fitz, we need your address for the record.
Address for...
Your work address.
Okay.
Your address is fine.
Yeah, okay. It's 6 Office Park Circle, Birmingham, Alabama, 35223.
Okay, Dr. Dickerson, any other
So
questions?
a Dollar General is going in your space, is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any other questions from any of the commissioners? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a motion. You guys can sit down.
Mr. Wilson, based on land use plan, I don't see where we could approve this. The only way it'd be approved is if it was amended, and that's outside our boundaries here, because of the plan. But based on that, I'm going to recommend or make a motion of denial. The long-range land use plan designates the area as rural district, the C1 commercial zone district, is not consistent with the proposal and designation of that property.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Well, we've closed the public hearing.
Well, I'll just, can we go through I was just going to ask, can we go through the land use plan amendment process, or what that process is, if we could maybe table our rezoning, and if there's a mechanism to be able to update the land use plan to be able to
So Michael,
facilitate this.
Michael, do you want to, would you illustrate what the land use plan amendment process would be?
Right. In this instance, we not only take a look at this one property, but probably the remainder of the properties between the church and the commercial businesses at that next intersection, and look at changing that designation to something more of a transitional nature. That would involve public notice, legal advertisements. We'd probably send notice to all property owners within 1,000 feet. And that's been our past practice for these sorts of amendments. And what we could do is we could put that on next month's agenda as the first item, as being the land use plan amendment. And then we hear that zoning case at the same hearing. And at that point, you of course could make a positive recommendation, or more of a positive recommendation for anything other than agricultural, rural, residential type.
And if we do that, it can all be accomplished by next meeting?
Yes. We can get that done.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, so we would need to continue this case till next month?
That would be the procedural step, yes.
Okay.
The Planning and Zoning Commission would have to carry this case over in order to advertise for that land use, advertise for a consideration for an amendment to the area land use.
Okay. So if you'll pause for a minute, we need to have a discussion. So if you want to consider a land use plan amendment, we can ask them if they're agreeable to that, and then we can make a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that is agreeable with the applicant that this case be carried over pending a review or amendment to the land use plan.
Yes, sir, we're open to that.
Okay, all right.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Michael, is there any actions that they need to take?
Those have to be entered in the record anyway. Okay. Okay.
Are there any actions that the applicant needs to take?
We'll coordinate that together.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to the next case, Z220060. Applicant's last name is Strickland. This is a request to change zoning from C1 commercial to A1 for residential use of an existing structure/house in Morris. Mr. Brown, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. The address is 2024 Morris Majestic Road in the Morris area, and the site consists of 0.23 acres. So the aerial map for the property shows you that there's presently an existing structure, 1,764 square foot commercial structure on the property, and consists of the sites consists of 0.7 acres. A typo that there. This site was previously the location of Whitney's Grocery. The future land use map designates this property for an agricultural use. Single-family dwellings would be permitted within the agricultural designation. The existing land use map shows you that this site was previously a commercial use. Current zoning map shows you the properties presently zoned commercial or C1. This is the applicant's site plan. This is the photo of the storefront as it previously existed. I understand that sign is no longer there on the roof. Staff is recommending approval. The rezoning and proposed land use is consistent with the county's long-range land use plan. The companion variance case, case A23-001, has been filed to waive the minimum 1 acre requirement. Again, the site only consists of 0.7 acres. And approval is recommended subject to the variance being granted. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. So is the applicant here? Would you like to add anything else to Mr. Brown's presentation? Okay, all right. Okay. Okay. All right, I'll let you come up and tell a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
So, but let me go ahead and ask for opposition first, and then so is there any opposition to this case? All right, you can come up and give us your name and address, and then you can tell us what you're, let's see if there's
My
any.
name is Angie Strickland. This is owned by my father and I, and it was a store, and we've taken the sign down. And my son, who is a college student, is living there now. And in the future, I would like to get the permits to dress up the outside so that it looks more like a home. I do have a sign up there that says private residence on it right now, because until we took the sign down, he still had people coming up there knocking on the door. But it's hard, you know. They want to charge you more for your utilities. They want to charge you more for your internet, and I want it to be a potential rental unit one day for my son when I'm gone, so that he can make money off of it. And, you know, that I think that would look better to people that are wanting to rent it if their utilities and stuff are more, because it's
Okay.
commercial. That's it.
Okay. Your address?
My address of the property,
Uh,
or my home address.
Home
The
address will
property
work.
address is 2024 Morris Majestic Road. My home address is 8417 Haygood Road, and actually, my house is right there behind the store. So
Okay.
we own all the property around in that area, across the street where there is a mechanic shop. But all of that is mine, and then the Christmases have just purchased that, and y'all have just recently let them build 4 houses to the right of that. So there's a big gully down in there that nothing can be built on. So, you know, and as far as a business goes, there's really not any parking. So.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions for you, and I'll see if
Okay.
the staff has any questions. Well, actually, I have a staff question. Michael, they're going to A1. This is .23 acres. Is there that the variance that they have to get?
Variance, they're putting for a variance request, I'll be heard here in a month, but that variance covers that their lot size is going to be smaller
Okay.
than what's allowed in A1.
Okay, all right.
As well as their minimum lot width.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Strickland, so I understand you're going to use this for residential use. Do you have any other plans for that? Or,
No.
And you mentioned a couple of improvements to make it look more residential.
On the
Let's go-
outside, yeah, we're going to have to do something to the outside to make it. We've taken down all of that except for in the very front, the side railing, and we've taken down the side, and then we're going to put a new roof on it, and we want to put siding around it, and I've already painted all that blue and made it, you know, just.
And do you have a driveway associated with it? Or is
There's
it-
not. There's just a pull up where you see right here on the side where that truck's pulled. That's where they park.
Okay, and you're just going to keep it like
Just
that?
going to keep it like that.
Okay, all right. Any other questions from any of the commissioners? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to close the public hearing and call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve Z 220060, that's subject to the variance being granted by the county's Board of Zoning Adjustment to waive the minimum 1 acre rule, 1 acre requirement.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes, and I will remind the applicant that we're not the final decision-making body, the county commission is, so this will be noticed again, and you'll have to come to the planning and zoning, the county commissioners meeting to hear their ruling on whether to approve the zoning request. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, next zoning case today is Z220065. The applicant is last name Matthews. This is to remove a split zoning and consolidate an A1 agricultural zoning for compliance for an existing house and storage shed. And this is in the Mount Olive area.
This property is located at 5617 Horseway in the Mount Olive area, as he mentioned earlier. If you look here at the current zoning map, the square in red is the part of the parcel that we're questioning to be rezoned. Everything around it is A1 zoning agriculture, and that property is zoned C1 commercial. And we're asking to rezone that to A1 as well for an existing house. To the right here is the house that's existing on the property, and to the left is the aerial map, shows the layout of the property. There's also a pending companion subdivision case that will be heard next month. It is to split that acreage tract into 2 tracts of record. From my understanding, this property belonged to the father, and He's splitting it between his daughter and son. The daughter is getting one side of the property, and the son is getting the other side of the property. There is also a companion variance case, and that is to allow 35 feet of road frontage in lieu of the 50 feet that's required. And with the splitting of the property, the existing residence is not going to meet the setbacks there where it is the C1 zoning. So we're asking for that variance. They're also requesting that they allow 12 feet to the side property line in lieu of the 15 feet required. The proposed single-family use is compatible with the existing development pattern in the area, and staff recommends approval. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here? I am. Okay, is there anything you'd like to add before I ask for opposition? Okay, well, let's see if we have any opposite. Is there anyone here in opposition to this case today? All right, would you like to come up and give us your name and address, the applicant? And then I'll see if we have any questions for you.
My name is Lydia Matthews. I live at 327 Westview Road, Gardendale, Alabama.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Is there any questions for Ms. Matthews from the commissioners? Okay, thank you. I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve Z22-0065 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Again, this is a recommendation to the county commission, and this will be heard at the next county commission meeting. All right, so our next zoning case today is Z22-0066. The applicant is Mary Helen Kaiser. This is a request to change zoning to A1 agricultural for residential use. It's currently zoned I3 for surface mining. This is in the Birmingham area. Go ahead, Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir. The location is 710 Glaze Cross Road, as you said, in the Birmingham area. And here's the aerial map, which shows you that this property is just south and east of Beaver's Point along the Locust Fork River. There's only one tract of land involved, and that tract consists of 20.4 acres of land. The county's future land use plan identifies this property as rural. The existing land use map shows you that the property is vacant and undeveloped. The current zoning map shows you the property is presently zoned I3 as strip mining. Here's the applicant's site plan. And because this is a family lot split, the family member receiving land would receive land in Lot 2, where it shows you the 1 acre. And Lot 1 is the lot giving up the land, and it has 17.22 acres, if you will. This is just a bird's eye view of the property, which shows you everything surrounding this property on really 3 sides is agricultural. There's wetlands there at the point of Locust Fork River. Below that is the area that's zoned strip mining. Actually, all of it's zoned strip mining. Staff's recommendation is for approval, Mr. Chairman. The subject properties adjacent to other properties that are zoned A1. The development proposal is consistent with the county's future long-range land use plan. And for those reasons, staff is recommending an approval. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here with us? Okay. You have anything you'd like to add? Okay, good. Any opposition to this case? Any questions of the applicant from the commissioners? All right, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve Z22-0066 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. So again, this one is a recommendation to the county commission, which we'll hear this case at a later date. Coincident with this, we're going to hear the related zoning case next, S22-0097. Same applicant, Mary Kaiser, and this is looking at 2 lots proposed for the 19 acres.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, it's a proposal for a subdivision to split a 1 acres tract into 2 lots for record for residential use. It does comply with our zoning requirements for the lot sizes in A1. However, we did note that it is a part of a larger parent tract that it was carved out of improperly, and as such, the remainder of that property will need to be approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission as a lot and recorded in a subdivision before any permits can be issued on that property. There's no anticipated road or traffic operation issues, and there's right-of-way dedication is required for Glaze Creek Road, where adjacent to the property. No sewer available, so the health department will have to give approval for on-site septic systems. Other than that, the staff recommendation is approval.
Okay, thank you. Is there any opposition for this case? Any questions or comments for the applicant? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. I'm sorry.
I'm just curious, Mr. Martin, was there ever any strip mining done on this property?
I would assume so. It was zoned for that, so I'm not sure exactly the area of the strip mining. If it did occur, it would have been quite some time ago. An aerial shows a bunch of looks like to be 30 to 40-year-old forest there.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Any other questions for staff or for the applicant? Okay, public hearing's closed. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for approval on case S220097.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion in a couple of seconds.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. And we have one last zoning case today, Z220068. This is the applicant Jimmy Hooper requesting a change in zoning from R1 single family to C1 commercial for mini storage in the Bessemer area.
Yes, sir.
Ralph?
And this property is located at 98 1615 Street Road, and the site consists of 2.08 acres. Your aerial map shows you that there's one tax parcel, again, 2.08 acres of land, which is vacant. There's a single-family dwelling on there, which will be demolished. This site is located near the intersection of Warrior River Road and 15th Street Road in the Bessemer area. Your future land use plan identifies this site as within the rural village designation. The existing land use map shows you that there's a low-density residential use on the property. The current zoning map shows you that the property is presently zoned R1 single-family district. And here's the applicant's site plan, which shows 5 mini storage units and a climate control storage facility along 15th Street. There would be an interior roadway around the periphery of the lot with access from 15th Street Road. To the south, to the west is a U-Haul store. To the north are single-family dwellings. And there, adjacent to those single-family dwellings, the applicant is proposing a 10-foot wide landscape buffer, but zoning ordinance requirements would require a 15-foot buffer instead. To the north and east is a gas station. To the south and east is a Marathon gas station. Adjacent to that is a vacant lot. This is what's presently on the site. That single-family dwelling, as originally mentioned, at 9815 15th Street Road. And the property below this, where 9760 is a part of the development proposal, but it's not a part of the rezoning request because 9760 is already appropriately zoned for a mini storage warehouse, which is C1. Staff is recommending, Mr. Chairman, approval of this rezoning request. It's consistent with the county's long-range land use designation of rural village. The property is compatible with surrounding uses and existing development patterns. The site is surrounded on 3 sides by commercial uses. And for those reasons, Mr. Chairman, we're recommending approval. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Hooper, I'm guessing that's you since you left. I'm going to ask, is there any opposition here for this case today? All right, would you come up, give us your name, address, and let's ask you a few questions, please, sir?
Jimmy Hooper, 6625 Warrior River Road.
Okay. So, Mr. Miller, you got questions?
Yeah, Mr. Hooper, you understand you submitted a 10-foot buffer, natural buffer. You understand it's a minimum 15-foot buffer.
If that's submitted at 10 foot, it's a surprise to me.
Okay, it was submitted 10 foot, but it's
It could be. Chris Pappas drew that up for us at pretty quick notice, and we can go to a 15-foot buffer zone. That's not a problem. In fact, on what he gave me, it is 15 foot. So I don't know where that mix-up came, obviously, on my end.
Do you have any plans for the elevation on that?
We were waiting to do the elevations in that. Chris has done some takeoffs of where the detention pond has got to be. We've got, in fact, the property to the left where the climate control is, we've already got permits to build on that, and we're building now. Well, we own the lot where the demolition pond is, the retention pond is already commercial, and we own that lot. And so this in between it, we just acquired these properties years ago, and with plans to do something on them. So we had that at the last minute, really, while we're doing the commercial, we kind of went ahead and had Chris draw up a plan of what we're doing, and that 15-foot zone, I guess I don't know what happened there, but mine's showing 15 foot, but we can change that. That's not a problem whatsoever. But he has not done elevations on the retention pond, not an engineered set. He's done work on it to know it would work, but he hadn't submitted one because we didn't want to spend that money if it was going to be turned down.
Okay. On your outside lighting, do you have any plans for that? We're going to require
On the outdoor storages,
down lighting.
Right, down light. We'll generally do that on the buildings, shining out instead of shining into the buildings. We don't really like the lights in the community up high.
Correct.
It's just kind of, you're close to an intersection and you don't want to confuse the issue with the traffic. So really, we do all our lighting on the buildings.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Dr. Dickerson.
I have a question for Mr. Brown. On page 8 of 12 that you gave us, what is that?
So that's your posting sign and a puddle of water.
8 of 12?
Mm-hmm. It's the sign, and it looks like a mini lagoon or something.
It's the page before what you have up on the screen, Mr. Brown.
Oh, okay.
No,
Not that.
Other direction.
The sign.
Okay. It's different than our package, apparently.
It's a sign, the county sign.
County sign.
Mr. Brown, can you see this one?
Yeah.
Mr. Brown, can you see it here?
Oh, yeah, okay. I see it now in my staff report.
What's that?
That's just where the sign was posted.
No, but all of that around it, is that some kind of flooding? I don't know what.
What the applicant just referred to, let me go backwards here, is this detention pond right here, which probably contains some level of water. And so that sign was, yes, sir, you about to say something?
You go be finished, and then I'll.
Okay, so I'm guessing I didn't post the sign. The sign was posted for me. I'm just guessing that this sign was probably posted right in this direction, where there would have been the only place there would have been standing water along 15th Street Road.
That detention pond is not, of course, it's not there at the time. It would have to be built with the construction project because it's already zoned commercial. And that sign, where you see that water that looks like it's wrecked there, that's where it's along 15th Street Road where they placed that sign. And we'll take a closer look at that. And it's just basically the ditch that's running through there. And
all right, I was trying to figure out what that might be.
It looks bad.
It does. That's why I asked. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lowry.
So, Mr. Hooper, I had a couple of questions too. So, I know we don't have elevation, and I understand where you're at with this. Right. Can you describe to me what your plans are going to be, what you envision the elevations to be? These are one-level storage facilities?
One level, yes.
Okay.
Yes. No, there's no boat storage, no camper storage. I don't think our zoning was right for that, plus the space wouldn't allow it. But they are just basically 8'6", 9-foot tall buildings,
And metal exterior, metal roof.
metal exterior, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All right. Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve Z 220068 with the following conditions: that he's required to have a 15-foot landscape buffer between the buildings and the residential area, and all outside lighting be directed downward.
Second.
All right.
Point of order.
Point of order.
We don't need that condition about the 15 feet. That's required in the regulation.
Okay. So are you willing to amend your motion to remove that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, amend my motion, that all directional lighting on the lot be downward, and you're aware of the buffer.
Second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Again, that's a recommendation to the county commission, and they'll be the final decision maker on that. All right, thank you. So we have a couple other business items today, and that's to establish membership of from the P&Z on the Planned Development Committee and also the Regulations Committee. So I would like to, you want me to run it, Michael?
Yes, sir. You can call for nominations.
Okay, so, well, and I'm going to call for nomination. They're going to be self-nominations. So I'll just, I'll start up here at the top for the PUD committee on the top here. Who would like to be on the PUD committee?
I would like to be on the PUD committee, sir. Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Siegler.
I would be happy to serve, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Dr. Dickerson. Okay, and Chris, Patrick, and Cynthia, would y'all be interested in the PUD committee? Certainly. Well,
Bylaws don't really state.
well, we have two. I'd like to have three. But okay, thank you, Cynthia. All right, so I think that fulfills that, and then we typically those we mentioned, we'll probably have those meetings typically prior to the pre-meeting, like we had this morning, afternoon at noon today. All right, so the next one is the Regulations Committee. We talked a little bit about that in pre-meeting. It's a little bit more involved, and I would like to get three members on that also. And I'll start up here at the top. Who would like to be on the Regulations Committee? All right, thank you, Mr. Miller.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to.
Okay, Dr. Dickerson, thank you. And Chris, Patrick, Cynthia?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Timeframe constraints that I may have, is that a required meeting every month?
It's not required. It'll be ad hoc. It's just as we need it. Primarily as we start with the comprehensive planning process. And as I said, I'll be glad to work with y'all scheduling those meetings.
And if you're on it,
It's something that we don't schedule just before our regular pre-meeting.
and if you can't make it, you can't make it, okay? If you got work or family things going on, so. And just, we want to have a set of members, but it doesn't exclude anybody like Georgia, who didn't volunteer for anything. She is welcome to join any of them at any time, okay? So, no pressure, no pressure. And I didn't join, but I will make an effort to be at all of them.
Well, Chairman, you on every committee.
Yes,
That's fault.
I think I am.
You are.
Okay, so, Patrick, what do you say?
I'll do regular.
Okay, all right, so we have 3 standing members for each committee. Sound good to the staff?
Sure.
All right, I appreciate.
We need a sort of motion accepting those assignments.
Yes, and Chris will be at all of them anyway, because it's part of his job, right?
That's right. Voluntold.
So I think that concludes our business for today. And I would like to thank everybody for being here today. And we were able to complete our meeting in under an hour, including extra business. So yay for that. It's a good start to January. Let's hope February is as kind to us. And so that concludes our meeting. We are adjourned.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all are great officers.